So I'm going to do an intro to this next video. It's going to be a little bit long. If you follow me on TikTok, you've seen a little bit about the pit bull that came and attacked one of our alpacas and some of the stuff with that. So this is going to be a video about that. I don't have any video of the attack because I was not worried about videoing at that point. I was worried about trying to save my alpaca. But I do have video of the alpaca as I was taking her to the vet. It's Sugar, one of our smaller white one. And so there will be some video of her. There's nothing of the wounds, but she does have blood all over her. So if you are squeamish about that, you might want to just fast forward through some of that part of it. It doesn't have a happy ending with her. I'm going to say that right now. She did pass away. But I do still have, at this exact moment that I'm making this intro, I do still have the dog. He is going to a rescue. I will explain a little bit more about why I have him in the video and about why I didn't shoot him at the time of the incident. So I will do that, and there will probably be parts of this video that I cut out and edit out. But anyway, onto the video. Okay, so this has only been a little bit since I finished my last video, recording my last video, and I was in the process of doing editing and stuff like that, so I could post it when this all happened. And I look fantastic. I am driving, but that's why I'm not going to really pay attention to the camera. But I'm on this back road. I am currently headed to a vet. Neighbor's dog. Our neighbor, kind of think it is this particular neighbor, where Buddy came from. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that Buddy showed up in September, and he was super skinny, and then he disappeared for a week, and then he showed back up with a 6-foot 2-inch chain wrapped around his neck, and I was pretty certain he was being beat down and starved to be used as a bait dog. Pretty sure it's the same neighbors. So they have pit bulls. Their dogs have never gotten out before, but their dog got out and he attacked Sugar, one of the white alpacas, the small white alpaca. And so when Pepper got attacked by whatever attacked her, she just had some cuts and some damage around her face, and I knew there wasn't anything different that the vet was going to do for her than what I did for her. And she was not she wasn't so bad hurt that, she was up on her feet, and she wasn't so bad hurt that she was not doing okay. So I didn't take her to a vet. But when I got to Sugar, the dog was still on Sugar and had Sugar by the back leg, and we had to beat the crap out of that dog to even get him off of her. And if I'd had a gun, I would have killed the dog, but I don't have a gun. And so my son-in-law helped me get the dog off of her, and he held the dog until we could get the dog taken up to the house. We got the dog taken up to the house and put into a pen, and I stayed with Sugar, and then my husband got there and my daughter got there, and I didn't really treat Sugar's face. She just has a cut right here on her nose. It's not a bad cut. It's just a little, her face is pretty bloody, but it's not a bad cut. The problem is she's got a massive, I can tell, I think she's got something around her butt area where her anus is at. I think there's some wounds there, but I couldn't really get a good look at it, but that wasn't my concern. My concern was she's got a big, huge wound on her back leg, and when we tried to get her to stand up, I'm trying to make sure she's still setting up. When we tried to get her to stand up, we got her standing, but she couldn't, her foot, instead of her foot being flat like this, her foot was like this. So I'm really worried about tendon injuries that she's done, that there's some serious injuries to her tendons, and we couldn't get her to walk to the barn. I did put betadine on it, and I went ahead and gave her a shot of penicillin like right when it happened, just because I was hoping it wasn't going to be a serious injury, and I was hoping we'd be able, once I got the other alpacas to go to the barn. She's standing up. Yay, she's trying to stand up. There she is. And she got blood all over my ceiling. I was really hoping, easy girl, easy, 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 easy. I'll show you guys kind of some more of her in just a minute, but I was really kind of hoping that once the other girls got up, which like started heading to the barn, that she would stand up, and even though she was injured and stuff, I was really hoping she would make it, she would walk to the barn, she would be able to walk back to the barn, and I could just treat her the way I had treated Pepper. But that was not the case, and I was really worried about her. Lay back down, baby. I was really worried about her, and really worried about tendon injuries, so we carried her, me and Jesse and my daughter. Jesse's my son-in-law. We carried her from the back pasture. If you remember it from the snow video where I walked all the way to that back pasture, and I walked and showed you where the alpacas had walked up there and turned around, that's about where she was at. So we carried her from there all the way back up to the barn, and we loaded her into the back of my SUV, and now I am almost to the vet. I'm about 10-15 minutes from the vet at this point. We called the cops because I live in county, and there's not an animal control officer, there's nothing like that. We called them. Oh, and in the same token, these neighbors, so they don't live on this property. It's a house and about the same acreage as what I have, and they have pit bulls that are pinned up, and then there's 3 horses over there, and there was cows in the summertime because they were roping off of them. I don't know if there's still cows over there or not. I haven't seen any cows, or steers, not cows. But they only come every few days to feed. Not every day. Sometimes they're there every day. Most of the times they're not there every day. Most of the times they're there every few days. Well, I hadn't noticed because I don't pay attention to their animals. I don't pay attention to their stuff. So I didn't pay attention. I have noticed before that their horses are very thin. There's been a few there when we first moved in. There was 2 horses over there that, when I say they were thin, I mean they looked like they were starving to death thin. One of those horses had broken out of their place, gotten hit by a car, I'm assuming, and then came over to my place and died. This was right before we moved in. And they came and they hauled him off. I don't know. And then there was 2 other horses over there, and those horses were really thin. But then in the last couple of years, the horses haven't looked so bad. It's not the same horses. It's different horses, I think. And they haven't looked as bad. Thin, but not like starving thin. And like I said, there's no animal control people. We're county, and there's no animal control people. There's nobody to call. I didn't pay any attention to it until I had left Jesse to sit with Sugar and to hold on to that pit bull while I went up to the house to get the antibiotics and to get betadine. And on my way back down, that's when I noticed all 3 of those horses are saddled, full saddles, and tied up in different areas of the pasture to trees, basically. It's been raining since yesterday. Not heavy rain. Well, yesterday it did rain pretty heavy. Today last night it rained pretty heavy. These horses are not under any shelter, fully saddled. And it's been raining, misty, rainy all day today. And it's cold. And so I'm like, are those horses seriously saddled? So I'm thinking, are they over there? Maybe they're riding. How come they didn't see their dog was out and their dog was attacking my alpaca? There's nobody there. Nobody's there. So we call the cops. The cops show up, and then the cops tell us, well, you should have shot the dog when the dog was attacking your alpaca. I'm like, I don't own a gun. If I'd owned a gun, I would have shot him at the time it was happening, because that's what ranchers and farmers around here do. Your dog gets out and goes after somebody's livestock. They don't mess around. They put a bullet in the dog. It's cruel. It's sad. But that's what happens. If one of my dogs got out and went and attacked somebody else's animal, they'd kill the dog. That's what you do. That's what they do. So we've got this pit bull locked up in our garden, and they're like, there's nothing we can do about it. We can't take the dog from you. We can't shoot the dog now. We can't shoot the dog now, because now the dog's not attacking anything anymore, and if we shoot it, we get charges on us for animal cruelty, which, I mean, I wouldn't really shoot the dog after the fact. I would shoot the dog while he was attacking. I mean, we had to beat this dog to get him off of her. We had to beat him. He didn't try to bite us at all. He wasn't aggressive towards us. I think he did try to bite Jesse when Jesse went to go toss him into the garden. But it wasn't like a full-on trying to attack. It was just him. We were kind of choking him with the collar. But yeah, we can't, I mean, I wouldn't shoot the dog at this point anyway, because that's not who I am. But I was like, the cops can't take the dog. They can't take the dog and take the dog to the pound. We can't take the dog to the pound. If we take the dog to the pound, they will charge us $100 to drop the dog off at the pound, because we don't live in city limits. And even though the dog is a stray and it attacked our animals, if we went and surrendered the dog, they'll charge us $100 to surrender the dog. So we can't even go surrender the dog to the pound. And then we're like, well, and what about the fact that these horses are tied up? Saddled, tied up. And they're like, those horses can stay saddled, tied up, without any food or water for 2 or 3 days, and we can't do anything. That's legal. That's legal. Okay. So my daughter happens to remind me that, hey, the neighbors that came over at one point and said somebody was stealing stuff from their property, and didn't she leave you her number? And I'm like, I think she did. So I searched. I found her number. We called her, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'll come get him. And I'm like, you're going to come get him? But not only, this is a $1,500 animal that your dog attacked. I don't know what this vet bill is going to cost me, because this is a Saturday. Vet's already closed. This is an emergency visit. I don't know what this vet bill is going to cost me. She's probably bred. Most likely will abort her baby like Pepper did. And if she has serious tendon injuries, I'm not even sure if they can fix it. It depends on what the injuries are. I'm seriously hoping it's a simple minor cut that they can just treat and clean up and treat and we can give her antibiotics and she'll be okay. I'm really hoping it's going to be something super simple and not anything that's going to be a serious issue, but there's a chance that if it's a serious tendon injury and she can't use her leg anymore, I'm going to have to euthanize her at that point. So, and I don't even know yet. The cops did go over there. They did go in. They did go look at the horses. They said that the one horse, the white horse, who I had seen looked fairly thin, did look really bad. And they said he looked really bad. And so maybe, hopefully, the cops are going to do something. I don't know. I don't know if the cops are going to do anything about the dog. I don't know if I need to worry about this dog if he gets out again, coming and killing one of my dogs. I certainly have to worry about if he gets out again, he's going to go back after one of my alpacas again and attack one of my alpacas again. Anyway, so I'm probably about 5 minutes from the vet at this point. But I will show you Sugar. It looks pretty bad. Her face is covered in blood. That's mainly from she doesn't have any neck wounds. She has one, it's a slice over the bridge of her nose. It's not a deep cut. I could definitely see it's not a deep cut. It's fairly minor on her face. It just looks horrific on her face, but her face is not an issue. I can't tell. It's the back end. It's not this leg that you're seeing. It's the other side of her where she has the wound on her leg. I don't know. That's the one that I don't know of, but she is setting up. She has calmed down. I'll add more to this once I know what's happening to her. Hopefully I'll know what's happening to them. What's happening with that. Okay, so I'm gonna do this little bit because now I'm kind of ticked off. We're sitting here at the vet. There could be nerve damage. Could be tendon damage. We don't know yet. We haven't pulled her out yet because she's super stressed out and super shocky. So we're just trying to let her kind of rest a little bit, and the vet's got other people that she's having to take care of and deal with right this second. And since it's better to let her kind of de-stress a little bit, that's what we're doing. But the guy, the neighbor, came to get his dog and said, "That's not my dog." I don't know whose dog that is, but it's not my dog. Well, that's interesting because he's the only one anywhere close to me that has pit bulls, but it's not his dog. So apparently he doesn't care what we do with the dog. We could shoot it. We could do whatever we want with the dog. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. It's not his dog. We can do whatever we want with it. So now we have this pit bull that attacked an alpaca that we have to figure out what the heck we're going to do with. What do we do with this dog? I don't know what we do with this dog, but that also means that they don't have to pay a vet bill because we can't prove that it's their dog. So even though there's nobody else anywhere near us that has pit bulls, we can't prove that it's their dog. This dog has a collar on, by the way. Not with any tags, but he does have a collar on it. But we can't prove it's his dog. So no recourse for the vet bills. She's probably going to have to be euthanized. We won't know until we can pull her out of the car and really assess the damage done to her back leg. But the wounds are extremely deep and she's got multiple wounds. It's more than just the one I saw. I saw one, but I wasn't in a position to see the others. She has multiples. And I have this dog now that's locked in my garden that I'm not keeping because this dog attacked one of my animals. I don't know where this dog came from. I don't know if this dog's dangerous to people. I don't know if it's dangerous to my other dogs. I don't know anything about it. There ain't no way I'm keeping this dog. So I don't know what we're doing with it. Which is sad for the dog too, because you know what? It's not the dog's fault. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off at the dog, of course, but it's not the dog's fault. The dog is a dog. It's an animal. Animals do what animals do. So, you know, even though I'm pissed off at the dog and I don't want the dog anywhere around my animals or my house or my kids or my grandkids, I still feel bad for the fact that the dog's will go to the pound and get euthanized. And that the owners, this shows that the owners don't give a crap. That dog was money to them for fighting. And considering, so they obviously don't care about the animal one way or the other. And it's really sad for him. Okay, he's more interested in eating right now. And he won't really put his head up so I can show him. I know he's a male. It looks like I can't get a good look at the back end of him. It looks like he may be neutered. Maybe. I can't really see back there. He's not super skinny. I mean, his body condition looks pretty good, but he's definitely acting pretty hungry. This is the collar that he showed up here with when he attacked. And this is the exact same collar that was on the dog that I took in back in September, with the chain wrap, with a 6-foot chain wrapped around it. So yeah, I pretty much know he belongs. Oh no, yeah, he's not been neutered. I can see now. He's intact. That dog right there is the dog that I took in back in September. And he's a good dog. So he's not acting aggressive towards me at all, even after yesterday. And he hasn't acted aggressive towards these other dogs. And my son-in-law's dog jumped in here last night and was in here with him for a good 5-10 minutes before we realized he had jumped in here with him, and there was no aggression and no fighting. So I don't know. I don't know that he's necessarily aggressive towards other dogs, and the aggression towards the alpacas might have been just his hunger. I don't even know, but he's not acting aggressive right now. But there he is. There's a good look at him. Okay, so I am going to update about Sugar here in this video. This is just added on to the last one, but I did hear back that Sugar did pass away last night. So the attack happened on Saturday and it's Monday morning. So she had gotten up yesterday and they had got her to stand up, but she wasn't putting any weight on her leg really yet, but she was doing okay yesterday, and then she died, overnight, probably stress and an infection. But a little happy note on that, I'm going to have some more about that in a minute because we still have the dog, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But on a happy note, from my last video, when I said I was trying to find my hen, and I found her and she was setting on eggs. The eggs are hatching. I don't know how many eggs she's setting on because I didn't really want to mess with her if she was going to try to set on eggs. But there is at least one chick right there. I saw its little legs, and I don't want to mess with her because I don't want her to get off the eggs and mess up any eggs that haven't hatched yet, or to abandon the babies, because down here in the barn it's cold, and if she's not here to protect her babies and feed and raise her babies, they'll freeze, and I don't want to have to take them from her. and go put them in the barn if she's gonna raise them. But look, there's a little baby right there. So we have little baby chicks born. But I'm gonna let her go, and I'm gonna talk more here in a few minutes about the dog and what's going on with that and the whole thing. But yeah, little chicks. Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about the dog. So yeah, Sugar did die. We had gotten the dog up here into our garden, and it's secured. Like I said before, the cops basically said there's not anything that they could do. Our options were to turn him loose, let him attack something again and shoot him, go dump him somewhere, go pay to have him surrender to the pound, in which case they're going to euthanize him immediately because he attacked another animal, or try to find a rescue, or keep him. Not keeping him, because I won't be able to ever trust him around any of my animals, and he's already attacked something, so it's a little bit different than Buddy, and it's a little bit different than my animals who have went after my alpacas, and because they were already my animals, I made it my responsibility to just make sure they couldn't get out and attack my animals again. That's why some of my dogs are pinned up, but he's different. He didn't belong to me, and I'm not going to take that responsibility, because I also don't know how he is with people or anything else. So I'm not taking that responsibility, but I am trying to find him a rescue that will take him. I've been working on that since Saturday night, trying to find him a rescue. He does have the full garden to use. It's hot wired, so he can't get out. And I've brought this crate out here, filled it with hay, and he has a blanket in there, and I've wrapped it with tarps. It's the best that I can do, because I can't put him in the pen with my other dogs in case he tries to fight, because that's either going to end up in him getting killed by them, or he's going to join in with somebody else and one of the other ones are going to get killed. So that's not an option, and he's going to go to the bathroom, so I won't video that. And I can't take him into my house because of my other animals. So my only options are what I have him in right now, for shelter, which is not ideal, but as long as we don't have a severe weather drop like we had 2 weeks ago, this is sufficient for him. I mean, if we had weather like we had 2 weeks ago, a bullet would be more humane at that point. But I don't have that. But I don't think that we're gonna have that kind of weather. So I think we'll be okay just having him out here, doing his thing out here. Let me try to video. Some people wanted to see him walking, so let me try to video that real quick. Okay, yeah, so sorry, I needed to stop and try to do a video of him kind of walking around. Some of the people that are rescuing are wanting to see some of that. But yeah, so we are trying to find him a rescue. I know a lot of people will be like, well, you should just shoot the dog or put the dog down. It's not his fault. I know he's a pit bull, but that's not his fault. I mean, my other dogs aren't pit bulls, and they've had issues with the alpacas. So it's not his fault that he's a pit bull, and it's not his fault that he went after the alpacas. It's the owner's fault, who didn't care enough about him to make sure he was secured. The owners basically said he's not their dog, which tells me that the owners, that he's most likely was being used for fighting or for baiting, and that's what he was being used for, the same as Buddy. You know, if they came over and said, oh my God, I'm so sorry that my dog got out, here, let me pay the vet expenses and the expenses for your animal, and taken the dog, I would have been all good with that. But instead they came over and said, that's not my dog, and left it with us, and just basically said, do whatever you want with him. So
it's not the dog's fault. He's an animal. Animals do what animals do. And if he was starving, which the amount of food that he's eaten in 2 days tells me he was pretty hungry, even though his body condition looks pretty good. That tells me he was pretty hungry. He, you know, he's an animal, and animals do what they do. And when they're hungry or they're stressed or they see a prey animal, that's what some animals do. It doesn't make him a bad dog. He needs somebody that can make sure he's going to be safe around people and things like that. So that's what I'm looking for a rescue for. He hasn't had any problems with us. He hasn't seemed to have any problems with the other dogs at this point. I mean, they're not in here with him, but he hasn't had any problems with him. So I will probably just hold on to this video before I edit and post it until hopefully we can find a rescue for him. So that way there's an ending, at least for him, on, you know, hopefully him finding a rescue where he can go and maybe get a better life. He has scars all over his legs. So he's had a pretty bad life, and you can tell he's pretty scared. He does have a mean mug face, like some pit bulls have, but he's been fairly okay. I mean, he's never growled at me. He's never once growled at me since I've had him up here. He hasn't even barked since I've had him up here. And he really isn't leaving this crate very far. But anyway, there he is. I'm gonna take some more pictures of him for the rescues. I can tell you for sure that there's no aggression between him and my other dogs that I have over there. They're literally right on the other side of a fence, and there's been no aggression. He can see them, they can see him, and nobody has said, they're not even barking at each other. They're not having any kind of interaction, negative or otherwise. So, okay, so here's one of my dogs and him, one of my cockers and him, over the fence. He's still just sitting there, doesn't seem to care. They're right here next to me. She's barking at him. He's just sniffing around. I mean, he doesn't even seem to care. It seems to be the same as the other dogs. She's over there. He yawned and has a tooth sticking out. No, he doesn't seem to care about him. So when my son-in-law gets up, I'll see if there's any if we can put them both on a leash and see if there's any interaction that way. That's the only dog that I will risk, because he's a big dog and he can handle his own against this dog if they happen to get into a fight. But he's also an intact male, so I don't really know for sure if they're right there together. He did get over here in the pen with him that first night, and there was no problems, because Traveler doesn't seem to have a problem with a dog as long as they don't have a problem with him. So there didn't seem to be any problems when he jumped the fence and got over there with him. But I don't know, on a leash with us both out there together, I don't know, we'll see how that goes. But I mean, my one Cocker Spaniel's right here. He's right there. He hasn't moved, he hasn't growled, he hasn't done anything. All right, there's Traveler, the big dog, my son-in-law's dog. He's the one that had jumped into the pen with him, and they gotten along. They were fine for a few minutes. My puppies are over here now. He doesn't care about them. Yeah, doesn't seem to be any care about dogs, at least outside the gate of him. Stitch. Stitch. Come here, buddy. Traveler.
Come here.
Come here, Traveler. Come play with him. Doesn't look like there's any food aggression.
Puppy, puppy. Cage.
Doesn't look like he's limping. Seems like he's fine.
Come here.
It doesn't seem like there's any problems with other dogs, other than he just really wants to be in his crate. Hi, buddy. Oh, and just so everybody knows, because there's some controversy over whether or not he was being seriously aggressive or not. I have Bucks literally right there. They've been right there this entire time. He's set in his pen, nothing. And today he's trying to rub all over me. Hi, boy, hi. Hi. He's leaning into me and trying to rub on me today. And being super friendly. I'm trying not to rub on him a whole lot because I don't want to startle him and get him acting aggressive, but he has not once shown any aggression towards me at all since the moment I brought him into the garden. He's been acting very fearful and afraid, but he has not shown any aggression since he came into the garden. Not with any of my dogs that come around, or with me or my son-in-law. And we were the ones that had to get him off of the alpaca. And it was not easy getting him off the alpaca. We had to basically beat him and grab him by his collar and choke him to get him off the alpaca. And he's not shown any aggression or anything to us. So, and he is literally one fence away from goats, because I don't have any other place to put him, and that's where those goats stay. And he's been 100% fine. Okay, well, if you follow me on TikTok, you know that Stitch here has found a rescue. I am going to be taking him to that rescue right now. It's a 2.5 hour drive. I'm meeting them halfway. The rescue is Nova Star Rescue. They do a lot with pit bulls and rehabilitating them and making sure that they're safe. So they work with pit bulls quite a bit. They're going to be calling him Bilbo Baggins. And yeah, that's where he's going today. We will hopefully be getting updates on him as his journey progresses. This will be where I'll try to do a video of him when I meet them. I'll try to do one more video of him before we end, but then that'll be the end of this video. And then any other updates that I get, I'll just either make another video at some point, or I'll just add them to a different video. But yep, he's going to the rescue. He's looking a little bit nervous right now being in the cage in the car, but he loaded really good, walked on a leash, and pulls a little bit when he walks on a leash, but not too bad. I think a lot of that was excitement. And he got right up into the car and got right up into the crate and did good. Kept his blanket in there that he's had with him this whole time, so I'll probably let him take that blanket just so that way he has something
slightly familiar, because this is going to be a stressful, long, stressful day for him. And I'm sure he's going to be nervous and scared today. So having something at least slightly familiar from at least some place where he was not being mistreated will hopefully make him feel a little bit more comfortable when he gets to where he's going. But anyway, I'm just getting gas, and as soon as I finish getting gas, we are getting on the road and heading to meet the rescue. So I'll try to do one more video of him when I get with the rescue people. Okay, well, we just got to the place where we're meeting the rescue. They're not here yet, but if I can get him to show himself. Hey, baby. He's been nervous and scared driving, but he's such a sweet boy. But he's been nervous and scared in the car, but here he is. I'll try to do a little bit more when I get here and say goodbye to him. But he's being a sweet boy. Bye-bye. We're gonna say bye-bye, baby.
Hey, baby.
We're gonna say bye-bye.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see.
Well, he had, so this blanket I've had with him in the crate and with hay.
Oh my God. You squeezy love. Yeah, you squeezy. Oh my God, yes. Give me kisses.
Good boy. You be a good boy.
Yes.